managed the dual situations better than us. They were quicker than us to second balls. So I thought there was, inside of there's a lot that goes on inside of a game, but we weren't able to when the game was. I think these games are very, very different. I think these games are very, very different than MLS games. I think the opposition is very different than MLS opposition. There's some things that, always in all of these games there's takeaways for me, and in certain situations it became a game of a lot of duels that we needed to win. There's things that, for me, I put in the bank and think about that as we approach games that might look like duels, a lot of duels, and guys who are handling the duels better than other guys, things like that. So I think for me it's not super worrisome. I always knew that this against Toluca was going to be a battle. They're a very good team, and it was going to be about how we could find our momentum and our moments inside of these games where we could try to make a difference and obviously score more goals in them. So this was going to be a challenge, and we weren't able to do it. But I think now, hopefully, as we still have a really busy schedule right in front of us, and we're on the road, which is always going to be a challenge. But I think the group will show resiliency. But all of our attention now can go to MLS, and I think that's where we're going to be now. We're going to be focusing on these games and inside of MLS. And we got a tough road trip to Dallas and Columbus towards the sideline just to get out of the middle of the field. And if something deflects, it ends up out of bounds. So I understand what he's trying to do. I think he's just trying to make a clearance. Are there other areas, other ways he could clear it? Sure, but he doesn't want to clear it more into the middle. So I understand that. And I think things like that happen, but I also think it's how we react to it. It's guys being brave, stepping from goal side to the ball to make sure that we block things, that we still protect our goal in that situation. We react properly to the situation, and I felt like we had the opportunity to block that shot. He scores near post, and I think we can block that shot, and I think we have position between there and the goal. So can Amiro do better with the clearance? I think probably he could, and he would want to, but I also think we can manage the situation. Things like that will happen, and you got to be able to deal with it.
And then I don't know that he came back out of the locker room at halftime. Is there an injury for Amiro? Or?
No, it was just a tactical shift. I brought Justin back. I was trying to put our two guys most comfortable on the ball in the build, trying to deal with their pressure. Bring in another midfielder who could take a little bit higher. We went to more of a 4-3-3. We had to score 3 goals in 45 minutes, so we start to push numbers a little bit higher. I didn't feel like we had enough time to get our fullbacks from lower positions to higher positions in the game, so we tried to just shift a little bit more, our numbers higher. That opens up some space between the lines sometimes if things break down, but we needed to score 3 in 45 minutes, so you got to do something that's somewhat attacking in that situation. You can't stay with guys behind the ball.
We didn't see Garces out on the bench either.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I wasn't looking at the bench, so he might have been inside getting treatment and doing stuff like that. So he has been managing little things, but there was not a specific injury, I should say. To the
and there wasn't any disciplinary reason?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't any of that. So he very likely do some dynamic actions inside of the game, show his quickness, his sharpness. Getting him back is huge for us. So a positive step in the right direction for Joe.
Toluca's probably been the best team in Mexico for 2 years now, and maybe by some margin. This was a series where, people in San Diego and I know were saying, "Oh, Galaxy, no, forget it, no chance at all." And we've seen Toluca dominate 2 of the best teams in this league. And I'm wondering, is there a difference in level there? And thinking historically, the way Mexico has dominated this tournament, and we've seen MLS kind of catch up to Liga MX. At the same time, they still have the ability to bring in players at their will, and
Sure.
This league doesn't. Is Toluca a different level from this league? Is this league, how much is this league handicapped by its inability to bring in the players that you want to bring in while dealing with the salary cap?
I'll say 2 things, Scott, and I'm not one that's going to get into the league issues here and there, because we have teams and good teams. One of the challenges isn't just that they have money to get more players and what people want to talk about. It's also the ability to keep and to be able to grow that group together over 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years and make subtle changes along the way when necessary. That's the most important part of this. It's probably not just the sheer amount of dollars per, but it's a combination of those two things. Like, that team is well choreographed. They've played a ton of games together. They have great sort of interactions with each other. They know where each other are. They have a lot of things that are very fluid amongst them. And for me, that's also what makes them a very, very good team. It's not just the individual quality of each player. It's how those players have grown together over the last probably few years in great games. And they're a very good team. And that's the fact. And that's part of why I think for us, it's also at times just a game of moments. If we can take care of our moments and finish our moments and deal with moments, then maybe you can get something out of it. I also think it's how there might be a team in our league that is built a very specific way that might give them a hard time. You know, that might exist inside of this, but they're a very good team. I think they're a very good team.
That ability, though, to build and build.
Of course.
Each year, you don't have that here. If you win a championship, you have to get rid of players that you don't want to get rid of.
Of course, and that's kind of my point, right? It's a combination of things. It's a combination of, you could run into some challenges due to the fact that caps are constrained and things like that, and that's a possibility. But for me, it's neither here nor there. Tonight is, you know, they won the game, and we've got to accept that and move on. And we've got things we've got to get better at as a group. And now all of our attention can go to MLS, and we have a couple of difficult games coming, and we're going to get some guys back healthy. You know, Joe's going to start to move forward. Jacob is hopefully a week and change away. Unfortunately, I don't know what the situation is with Eric, Tommy, but that becomes this tournament. Sometimes you can't escape the momentum, but hopefully it's not bad. We'll see.
Hey Greg, thanks so much for talking to us. You just mentioned about Eric Tommy. You said you don't have any...
I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't love the mechanism he pulled up as he was accelerating with the ball and kind of grabbed his hamstring area. So I don't know yet. I don't know how bad. I don't know if cramped up. That would be very optimistic, but we'll see. I just don't know yet.
This is another home game where the crowd showed its displeasure. Is that weighing on the team at all, or is that weighing on the coaching staff at all? Thank you.
Look, nobody ever likes to hear that. I mean, it's not what we do it for. It's not what we want to win. I felt like our guys put in an effort. We weren't good enough to win. We knew we had to score 3 goals, and that means a lot of things tactically. You take risk at times against a very good team. That could cost you. We don't deal with some situations. There's a lot of things. So, yeah, nobody wants to hear that, but I think what it did to this group is it galvanizes the locker room a little bit more. It's like, okay, we've got to come in together, and it's us. We've got to answer the bell here, and we've got to respond. And you know, everybody wants to make everybody proud. Everybody wants to go out there and be liked by their fans and want to deliver on all those things. So it never feels good. But at the end of the day, I think this group is a very close group. I think they believe in what they're capable of doing. And I think they can see that they're getting healthy and things are coming together, and now we don't have 2 competitions that we're splitting over and playing games all the time. So I think the group the energy I get in there is disappointment, right, from the game tonight, but also the energy I get is this is a tight group that will bounce back, and they now see a clear path to what they need to do for the rest of the season. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Coach Jim Alexander here. 2-parter here.
So I think there's probably some things that we look back and we would like to have managed those situations differently. I think if we get out of there 3-2, maybe we're not pressing. We don't think press as much when we're coming here. It's hard to say. They're a very good team. Again, it comes down to you can't give very good teams anything. You've got to make them earn everything. And I feel like we gave them a little bit here and there, and that's too much. And then once you get into these two-leggeds and affairs, and you get into a position where you have to chase a little bit, you can become vulnerable in these real fast against a good team. And so that's where scores can separate as well. So I think it's tricky in these, because at some point teams always have to, you have to go for it if you have goals to make up, and that can you can separate the score a little bit and stuff like that.
And second part of it, a silver lining in this is that you get to focus in the league. And I think you know better than anyone sometimes about it. Last year, like about a season getting away quickly and how good the West is and how many points these teams ahead of you are going. So knowing now that you don't have another month or so to play this competition, you can rest and get practice time with the guys, do you think that's going to really give that team a boost knowing that the sole focus is now the league?
I do. I think as we get the Joes healthy, the Jacobs healthy, we get deeper, we get starters back, we get guys who increase our level. I think bouncing from game to game and very little time to prepare for each game and rotating groups and trying to prioritize, but not really prioritize because both things matter, and so it becomes now we can focus on one specific thing. My hope is that these games and when I say these, all these different games and conditions and the different things that we endured at the beginning of the season will be meaningful for us on the big picture, and will help this team grow together and be able to manage more things as the season progresses and comes along. And so I think that becomes the value of the tournament. I think you play in games against teams like these and places like Toluca, which is 9,000 feet, and you got to come together and defend like a group. I think that could make us a stronger defensive unit. For me, I took some things out of that game about our team that maybe could benefit us going forward, things like that. So there are benefits out of this. For sure, our being able to focus on just the league is important, because I think recovery, getting back at it again, just getting some time out there to prepare for each game. It's not going to happen soon because we play games fast, but it'll benefit the group. I believe that, and I think we have a good group. I think we have a very competitive group once we get settled in, and hopefully we can start again, build off of the win in Austin as we go to Dallas, and reassert ourselves back in the league. I think we can make it. I definitely believe we can make a climb as we get healthy and get going.
Moving over to the Zoom, we'll go to Andres.
Thanks a lot, Coach Greg. Well, you mentioned that they have a group, Toluca, of very talented players. So what is your overall assessment of Toluca after both games? Do you see them as potential champions of this tournament? And also, regarding Paulinho, 5 out of the 7 goals came from him. What do you think was missing from your team to prevent one player like that, like the Portuguese, from having such a big impact? Thanks.
Yeah, I think they're certainly capable of winning this tournament. I think that's a short, easy answer to that. They're a very good team. All the games down the stretch are going to be good games, but they have a very good team. There's no reason why they couldn't win it unless they come across somebody who can beat them on the day. So Paulinho is, for me, he's just such an efficient player. Like, he doesn't waste any steps. His movement is so smart. He's so clean technically. I've watched the goals back from the previous game. I watched his actions, of course, during the game, and some of them back on the goals and things like that. But he's running the game through his mind, and he's just so clever about recognizing in anticipation where the game is going to go and where it's going to end up. And he's there. When other players are still a half a play behind or still solving a problem, he's already on to where the next thing is going to happen. And he's so efficient and clean technically. I mean, his ability to link up play, his movement off of the center backs, he's just constantly creating questions for the defenders, in terms of, do they step here? Do they stay with him? Do they do all these things? I think, in dealing with him, he had a couple of goals where he's blocking clearances and they go into the back of the net. So, again, these are just anticipatory things that great strikers are able to do in situations, but also just the way he pulls off and moves himself around. You can tell he's got a lot of quality, a lot of class, and his ability to anticipate ahead of the game where the game is going to be to put himself into finishing positions is special. And so, and you can't give guys like that anything on the day. You got to be physical with them. You can't be naive. You got to close down spaces. You got to lock in when you're getting around the box. You can't have misreads. You've got to communicate through his movements. There's a lot of details that happen. It's not any one player. It's a unit who who has to deal with that. You can't turn over balls in bad positions because he's already prepared for that. There's a lot of details that go into managing top strikers like him. And again, when we had some moments that certainly played into his hands, and he played them smart, very smart.
Last question will go to Adam.
Hello, Coach. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello, Coach. How do you assess the team's response after going down? Do you see the fight you hope the team to have after conceding goals? How do you plan on resetting the group after a result like this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's two parts to that. I think the fight of the group in general is there. There are duels we need to fight harder in, and we need to dig out, and we need to try to win in second balls. We need to be quicker at in certain situations. I think there's never just one part of the game, because as you need to score goals and you need to find your way back into a tie like this, our group's trying to find sort of solutions to find pockets and to play and to do things like that, where they can try to get a hold of the ball, because you got to get a hold of the ball to try to create chances to try to score goals. And so, I felt like we were in between those two things sometimes, where we needed to be better in the duels, but we also needed to be better in the transition moments to be able to secure possessions, to be able to play out of some of the dueling situations, to find our positions to be able to play. So for me, it's not an effort, it's not a commitment, it's not anything. I think the game itself we were trying to work through finding two solutions on needing to be come back from 2 to 3 goals as it got going, and finding how to play inside of that. And that's why, again, I was shifting sometimes out of a 3 into the 4, just trying to change references so that they could impress us man to man, which is what they wanted to do, so that we could try to find those little gaps and windows of time where we could get on the ball and try to create some opportunities to play forward, to get Gabe breaking through, things like that. So it became some tactical stuff inside of the dueling and all that stuff, and it just becomes not so straightforward as just kind of what you're asking, in my opinion. Sorry, I missed the last question. What was the last part of that question? Did I miss something?
Resetting.
Resetting.
How do you plan on resetting the group?
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing games every 3 days since the beginning of the season. Some have gone our way and some haven't. And the group will be disappointed tonight. And when we come back in tomorrow, we'll turn our attention back into the league and to Dallas, and start healing and start recovering and start doing all the things we need to do. I mean, that's when you play in multiple competitions. You gotta learn how to get from one game to the next and put things behind you and keep moving forward. So I'm not, look, other than getting guys physically turned around, I'm not concerned about the mentality of the group. These guys have answered the bell, and as they did in Austin after a tough game in Toluca. So we'll get ourselves ready.
That concludes our press conference.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Maya's going to be outside, so Maya should still be probably wrapping up soon.